Hello, everyone. Welcome to NDISCO'S Village Meeting Podcast. We are today into Series 3, Episode 35. How on a day, my people? This is your hostess, Dr. Marcellina Ndidi, M.OPARAOJI, again welcoming you warmly to today's discussions. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are listening or watching from. I hope today's discussion will, or a summary of discussions already had in the past on this particular topic, will help a few navigate this period we are going to talk about, or help others prepare for that period. Or if you're already in this period, maybe things are not the way you anticipate them to be, you can still change course and help yourself along the way. Each time we bring up a topic, it's something that concerns all humans. Yes, our podcast is on Africa, society, and culture, but majority of the time, the topics are as universal as you may want them to be, or as you wish them to be, or as they are, or they should be. So today we are talking about something that concerns everyone, especially those in Africa. I don't think pay mind to this particular period in our lives, except when it's too late. It's not that we don't think about it. It's just that we have other things occupying our time until that period. And when it then happens, we are caught unawares. And we pay a huge price for that. And what am I talking about? I am talking about retirement. So the word retirement really means a whole lot to different people. But the same goal about retirement may be what we all share without knowing. So having talked to some people, and believe it or not, the young ones are also asking questions about that period in their life they are yet to get to. And that's why we went into thinking about this. When I use the word discussions, I mean that some people have already tossed this up and down that will bring us to our discussion during the podcast, because many people cannot come in to talk about that at once. I try not to do that aspect of having many people come in because of timing. And so I get people's opinion before bringing in here. And even when I don't talk to people, I do research to know what other people's opinions are. Believe it or not, there are people who are masters of these topics. So the notion that many people have failed to embrace is that the biggest number of people retiring today, 2026 year, or even a little bit before then, and in the next few years, what, by the way of divisions of eras, this one is the baby boomer generation, or the baby boomers generation. These are the people that are born between 1946 and 1964. So if you fall within this period, you have either retired, you are on the verge of retiring, you're planning to retire in the next few years, not sooner, or you just retired. So wherever you are on that continuum, you need to listen to this discussion, or you may have had that already. So the question keeps coming, why is this generation considered the least prepared to retire? And that is the truth. Everywhere you hear it, and that's why we are tackling this subject, um, is that it doesn't mean that people don't retire. People have been retiring in the past and are going to retire tomorrow. All these generations coming around, millennials and all that, they are going to retire. But for whatever reasons that, and the reasons we're going to share that we understood, um, is this generation that I mentioned, the baby boomers generation, those that are born within that period of 1946 and 1964. So why are they the least prepared to retire? So there are certain things shared that is the reason why they are doing that, or they fall into that category, and what can still be done about that. Now, before I go further onto this topic, let's talk about the term retirement. What is it? Because it's not just those working in the office, employed by the government or anything. Also, those that are self-employed, they retire. So retirement is a shift from career obligation, and career might be the one that you are working in somebody else's uh, establishment, or you're working in your own establishment. And that is the period, that shift from whatever career or professional obligation to personal autonomy. This now you go from doing what everybody else wants you to do, as far as professional career is concerned, to your own thing of whatever you want to do. It's tough for many because some people really thrive on the idea of being told what to do. And while some people they want to do what they want to do, and actually that's why some people decide to work for themselves, because they want to be their own bosses. But there comes a time along the line, whether you're working for others or for yourself, that you need to now step back and observe life from a different perspective. Okay. And this is where then people ask, what do retired people do? And some people who have retired wonder about this. They want to retire so fast. And those that are retired are telling them, don't be so fast to retire, because it ain't all it's, purported to be. So it depends on who you're asking. And some even in their 40s that are not in this category, they want to retire, so early. And the question is always, what are you going to do with your time? So this is a topic we are embarking on today. And the big question is this category that have been, showed up here. Why are they considered the least prepared? And maybe if we understand that, the ones coming behind, the millennials, the Gen Zs, and the alphas and all that, they might learn not to make the mistakes made by this particular group, if there are mistakes. Okay? So let's talk about it deeply. So what do we really do, as far as humans are concerned, when not, put in that position of obligation to do XYZ that others want us to do in way of money? So the first thing you will hear from people who have retired or are just retired and are preparing to retire, that they are going to balance leisure, their hobbies, the fitness, so all those things that you hear them, social connections that they couldn't do when they were working 24/7. Most of them couldn't take vacation more than uh, they are supposed to, or that their places of work could give them a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, most 6 weeks, you know. Um, some of them would like to take 3 months vacation, but they can't because of work. Now they can. um, there are some hobbies. They want to golf all day long. They want to go play tennis all day long, but because of their work or the job, push and pull, they can't. Now they can. Some of them really want to get into do sports, go to the gym every day, but because of work, they couldn't. Now you can do all types of exercise, get into fitness the way you want, according to records out there. Nobody's stopping you. Some of them had hoped to get into associations, be able to socially connect with others, stay longer on, social media and all that. But work stopped them from doing that. But now, according to records, when you retire, you have all the time in the world to socially connect. Actually, that's a live wire that. So most people then, when they retire, they settle into routines, these routines that involve um, prioritizing things like rest. Okay. Everybody looks forward to when they don't have to wake up very early in the morning, 6, 7, to get ready to get in their cars and go to work. Or even if you're working remotely, to just get up for those early morning meetings. Most people, they look forward to when they don't have to do that. So rest is one of the things that is a priority for retired people. And you hear a lot of them, they love that, according to records also, and according to even verbal agreement to that or affirmation that these people that retired, they will sleep in, get up when they really want to, do all these routines when they want to, not be forced because of work to do that. They do their chores, they cook whenever they want, not that they're obligated to cook that because of time factor and all that. They take time to digest their food, to eat leisurely. Some of them decide to take part-time job because after a few months of staying home, they get bored. Now they pick up part-time jobs, or full-time jobs, contract jobs to keep themselves, body and mind busy. Some of them do voluntary work if they don't need the money. And even if they need the money, some of them decide they want to do something that will fulfill their day and fulfill their ability to help others. But the big thing about all these that I've mentioned is that they are going to do it on their terms. They're doing it on their terms, not in anybody's terms or on anybody's call. And they are ready to walk away if you don't agree with, the way they want it. But people are finding that all this depend, all the leisure, all the rest and all that depend on a few things. One is the energy that the person has. Okay. If they are really tired, exhausted, burnt out during retirement, they don't have that energy to do any of these things, then they rest. Even that, resting could be, a big deal for them because they can relax to rest. So it depends on that. Also, it depends on their health to be able to go do a part-time job or socialize, do chores. Somebody that is retired is should have at least a percentage of good health to themselves. If not, it's impossible to do any of this. And the biggest one is budget, the finance, the cost. If you don't have, as somebody retiring, if you don't have any funds, if you don't have much funds, if you don't have enough to do to live life with, with, it becomes really um, um, a cost period because um, whether it's housing or feeding yourself or clothing, or if you are not in such good health, you are bent on paying for medication. Now it's going to be tougher than it has ever been. So those three things are the three things that people look out for: budget, and that's the finance aspect, your energy level, and the third one is your health. Those three are, according to records, are the major things that will really make you have a good retirement or not so good one. Now, why are they saying that the baby boomers, that generation of those born between 1946 and 1964, are the least prepared for retirement? Again, that goes back to these three things that I've mentioned. The finance aspect was chosen as a bigger one because um, this generation of baby boomers are regarded as those who, in comparison with every other one, are those who help. They have engaged in helping others most of their lives, forgetting to think about their own period of when they can no longer do for themselves or for others. That's the biggest aspect. They did not save much. They did not think about, what will happen when they now need, to stand on their own. And when you look at that aspect, the record is that a lot of things were taken away from them. During that period, they no longer have, the financial backup that their predecessors had. Those before them used to have gold watches at the end of the period, but they don't. Pensions were stopped along the way. Um, they can no longer, some benefits that were added to workplaces or even the market, um, to help those who were working on their own, to maintain the finance, uh, shook. And so these people are left almost with little or nothing. They did nothing for themselves or about themselves that much. And it's coming back to haunt all of them. And that is why we are saying this now, that the next generations coming after, you got to look out for yourselves. You got to do more than or much better than the baby boomers did. Also, not being really prepared for retirement includes the health aspect. They worked so hard. I think it's the most hardworking, that they forgot to take care of themselves. And so health issues come to play. They did not exercise much. They did not, I'm not saying 100% of them, but majority, according to records out there. And that's the reason why they are doing that. They work themselves to the bone, unlike those coming after them who think about the balance and their work-life balance. The baby boomers did never thought much about that. They wanted to give all in all, and life wasn't made easy for them. I mean, now the computers are coming up more for the next generation. Things are made much more easier, unlike for them. And even with that, the baby boomers seem to be the largest group, and they are, records are showing out there that they are living longer. And when they tend to live longer, no matter what you save, it used to be that $1 million could really carry somebody to the end of their lives. That was when the lifespan was 50. Now, the old 50 is the today 70 or vice versa. I don't know how to say that, but people are living longer, especially the baby boomers are living longer than expected. Again, because within their lifespan, the age of technology came in, discoveries of all types that is helping now them live longer, but the money is not there to carry them over. So they weren't prepared for that, all these good things and also the bad things. So that's the reason. How do we change this? How can anyone change this? There isn't much to change because it's a little bit too late. Because in the next, according to a record out there, between 2030 and 2050, most of the baby boomers will be gone, dead. Um, how did you say it? It's their own record. So most of them will be gone by then. So what is it that is going to be done between now and then to keep them all longer? It doesn't mean that some of them may not get up to 100 years of age, but the average is what is being talked about here. So how do we revive that? How do we change that? It may not be enough time to change everything, but let's start with the rest. Resting is recommended still. And this is a relaxed kind of resting. Yes, it is hard to relax when you don't have the money or the funding to back you up. But hopefully, in places where government assistance is helping, I think they could relax. And hopefully, those that they helped can now turn around to help them, as especially in the African cultural aspect. These are the people that also help their own parents, hoping that their children will help them. But it's tough today to have raised children who think that way, because they are also learning from our mistakes as their parents. So if you are a parent who falls in within that period, you pray that you have somebody who could help. If not, um, um, that's just how it turns out. But if you are healthy, the baby boomers, if you are healthy, if you have the energy, if you have, little or no finance aspects to back you up, you are being encouraged to do some creative pursuits. You can still learn new trades. You can learn new skills. You're not too old to do that. A lot of those baby boomers are, they don't even show their ages, and they are strong. So nothing stops you from going back to, learning something, going back to actually do what you know how to do from the beginning to teach those to the new generation. And again, you can do that on your own terms, at your own time. But redundancy is not the key here. It's being recommended that if you find yourself at that stage because you weren't prepared to retire, you can still go into lifelong learning. You can go back to school. I know some people will say, oh, if I go back to school and come back out, how long do I have in life to, apply what I learned? That doesn't make you stay stagnant. Okay, learn it first. We've heard of grandmas or grandpas who went to get their GED or even degrees at 80, at 90. So if nothing for nothing else, you are exercising your brain, you're warding off Alzheimer's and every other dementia and all that stuff. Not that it causes it, but it could at least help push that away. And the moment your brain is active, you as a human being, you are still very much alive and on the go. Okay. Never stop doing your errands. Never stop doing, those of you who do home maintenance, yeah, you can be very, very careful not to fall, because at this stage, falling is not a kosher thing to happen. But those at that age range who believe that, oh, they're old, they can do what they used to do before, that's unfounded, really. The method, like again, if you have your energy and you have your health, you can still continue to do your errand. Those of you who cook should still be cooking. You can sweep, you can just do some little light stuff. Yeah, in Africa, we get carried away because we have um, housemaids, those who wash the cars and those who cook and those who cut the grass and all that. And actually, sometimes you want to do something. They said, no, 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 don't do that. No, no, they're killing you. You know, um, do the best you can. You may not do it all the time or most of the time, but don't just sit back because somebody else doesn't want you to do so. It's a kind of disrespect, or they they think you are too above doing that. No, do what you can. Gardening, you know, washing your own clothes if you can, and sweeping, all those little things, run your own errands. Family is a good thing to have around. Um, it's also emphasized that the rehashing of past memories can take you back to what you used to be or what you used to do. And we're not talking about memories of what you did in the past and all that. And about living to, as a family, if you used to cook together, laugh together, dance together, take walks together as families, travel together and all that. So family unit in that aspect. And it may be extended family, it doesn't have to be just, you know, and this is where also friends come in if you don't have family. So and that's why some people volunteer, because then they have extended family in another setting that they may not be related to, but they are there. And that's why some people, even when they go for travels at a certain age, they go in for group travels where they have their age mates, even if they don't know who they are, or they've never met them. You see these advertised 55 years plus bus travels to a new town, train travels, cruises. That is the reason behind that, is to create a kind of family outside of your family, so you can relate to somebody else. And that's part of life and living. And last but not the least, people still engage in part-time work. You've had some people work till they are 90. It's not because they have time to sit down, rest, but they can't sit still. They want to be out there doing something worthwhile to keep their spirit going, their mind, their body. The other time, going to McDonald's, it was actually a 92-year-old, but you couldn't believe he is 92, but he is busy greeting everybody, behind the counter, taking the money, and we were all thrilled seeing such a person. And you see a lot of people like that out in, everywhere. And this is where I encourage those in Africa as well, because we have the tendency to sit back in Africa because we have extended family who could do things for us. But by so doing, also, they are depriving us of using our brains and our bodies to do things that will give us, longevity. Okay. You find somebody, you say to them, oh, um, you don't know how to turn on your computer and all that. They go, why would I want to do that? You know, my children can do the computer or use computer. I don't have to. No, your children may know computer. You might even know a little to help them, the small ones, or for your trio. Okay. I have seen people who they don't even do ATM banking because they feel they're too old. Don't make yourself old, even when you're old. Yeah, don't behave like a child, but don't give up on life before life gives up on you. Okay? So this is where we are going to stop. There's sorry, not the millennial, the baby boomers generation, those that were born between 1946 and 1964. Um, the onus is on you now to turn back the clock, so to speak. You may not change your age. Remember when I talked about your biological age and your real age? When you are not active, when you have given up, your biological age will also give up. And that's the most important one because your organs in your body and everything is turning down. And yes, since you were, designated now as the ones that are least prepared to retire, for those of you who are yet to retire, please heed, think about what you need to do before you sign off on your work, or private or public. There are workshops out there. Those of you who are still working, yeah, the corporations or your places of work have sessions where they talk to you about life after work, the retirement period. So take advantage of that. And communities around you do have that. And this is where the voluntary aspect is very, very um, um, beneficial to everyone. In one of my last episodes, I encourage those, especially in Africa, if you can go back to the classroom, even if you weren't a teacher, go to the schools and help guard or guide the children or the young ones, or even at the university level. um, it could be beneficial to both you and that, you know, a young person or that child. Um, they keep your brain alive, and you keep sharing what you have with them. It becomes a mutually beneficial thing for everyone. So this is where I will end today's session, and remind us that life is what we make of it. Yeah, there are people always on the side trying to tell you what to do or how to live your life. No, it's your life to live. And age, at this stage in one's life, especially for those of you who are in that baby boomers generational age, period, it's too late to listen to anyone about how to live your life, because according to records, you have the next 20 years, majority of you will be gone. So who are you saving your life for? So on that note, I wish you a good retirement for those of you retiring. For those of you who are yet to retire, make the best of the situation. Get ready before it happens, because it's going to happen. Okay? And live the rest of your life the way you feel comfortable doing so. And for those of you in the other generational periods, learn from this generation, understand why they were called, they were designated the least ready to retire, and adjust your life before it's too late. Okay. On that note, I thank you for listening and for watching. Please subscribe and share with others. We're on YouTube and all the other outlets as well that have been mentioned in my past episodes. This is your hostess, Dr. Marcellina M.OPARAOJI, saying, have a good morning, have a good afternoon, have a good evening, wherever you are. I'll see you in the next episode.